Hello, how are you? Today I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of consuming coffee with cinnamon in your daily routine. Of course, both of these ingredients are super healthy, but they have an even more powerful effect when we consume them together. They even have synergistic effects for our health, for weight loss, for metabolism. You're going to love it. Stay until the end because you won't want to miss it. If you love tips on nutrition, health, and fitness, you're going to love this channel. Go ahead and subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell to get updates. I have new videos every day, and you're going to love them. Let's start talking about this idea of having coffee with cinnamon. I'll show you how to consume coffee later and how to prepare it with cinnamon. Remember that cinnamon will naturally help sweeten your coffee. There's a video here about how to sweeten coffee without sugar, and cinnamon is one of those options. But besides adding sweetness, it brings many other health benefits when combined with coffee. Let's get started. The first benefit, we have to start by talking about blood sugar control. We know that cinnamon has a very interesting effect of increasing insulin sensitivity. With this, you need to secrete less insulin to cover the amount of carbohydrates you consume daily, which leads to less fluctuation in your blood sugar levels. This means that the carbohydrate metabolism, specifically glucose, becomes more stabilized in your body. In addition, coffee contains some compounds that can mimic the action of insulin, promoting the absorption of glucose by the cells. Of course, the idea here is not to say that coffee with cinnamon will replace any type of medication you use daily to control your blood sugar. That's not the purpose of this video. Always remember that if you already have diabetes, high blood sugar, or pre-diabetes, it is extremely important that you follow a good diet, take your prescribed medication, and, as I mentioned, maintain a healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle to help control your blood sugar. I have a playlist that talks more about this topic, and I'll leave it in the description for you. Along with this benefit for blood sugar, we also have to mention that this alone already supports liver function. Because when we have frequent insulin spikes and high glucose peaks in our blood, we are more likely to accumulate fat in the central visceral abdominal region. So this combination can be good for your liver for that reason. Not to mention that coffee is extremely rich in antioxidants, and there are many studies that have already proven that coffee consumption can have a hepatoprotective effect. I have a video here on the channel talking more about this, the best drinks for the liver, and I'll leave it down below in the description for you. It's also very important to mention that by helping to control blood sugar, and also because of the thermogenic effect that coffee and cinnamon have, you can also support the weight loss process. Of course, this thermogenic effect of coffee has already been well explained. Coffee also helps to mobilize more fat as an energy source, and their anti-inflammatory effect also helps to reduce the difficulty in losing fat. Especially if you drink this coffee with cinnamon before your workout, you can mobilize more fat. Always remember that this is not going to be a miracle solution. Always keep in mind that for effective and sustainable weight loss, you need to re-educate your eating habits, you need to have a caloric deficit, or you might take a more metabolic approach like a low-carb diet, depending on your personal needs, physical activity, getting good sleep. I have a lot of videos here on the channel, a playlist on how to lose weight naturally and healthily, and I'll leave it down below in the description for you. This mixture can also be really good for your digestive system because cinnamon has a very interesting carminative property which helps reduce the amount of gas in our body. It is naturally anti-inflammatory, which helps reduce inflammation in the intestine. And coffee has a very interesting property of facilitating intestinal transit. In fact, some people say they can have a bowel movement after breakfast because coffee has this ability to stimulate the muscles of the intestine, making it easier to expel stool. So it can also be an interesting drink in that regard. Remember that coffee is acidic. It can further stimulate acid production in your stomach. On one hand, that's quite interesting because it can aid digestion, but if you suffer from gastritis or reflux, you should consume it in moderation. Remember, I also have a video here where I talk more about this topic. We can't talk about coffee and cinnamon without thinking about the neurological aspect, the benefits for our brain, memory, focus, and mind. Remember that coffee has this ability to make you more alert, making it much easier to associate information. Cinnamon also has this interesting property of stimulating our brain and protecting brain tissue, thanks to the antioxidants and anti-inflammatories naturally present in it. Also remember that this combination, because it contains many anti-inflammatories and has a really strong antioxidant potential, truly helps overall health, supports the immune system, and can indeed play an anti-inflammatory role. If that's what you're looking for, it's a very interesting drink for your daily routine. When we think about coffee, we often think that its benefits come only from caffeine. Of course, caffeine is an active compound in coffee, but coffee contains hundreds of other active substances, such as polyphenols and chlorogenic acid, which is a powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory for our bodies. And in the same way, cinnamon also has many naturally occurring antioxidants. Of course, we have cinnamaldehyde, but we also have the essential oils in cinnamon and polyphenols. So these really are foods, drinks, tea, or infusions that we can make, which can bring many beneficial effects to our health. If you like this combination and want to know how to get even more out of it, the best way is to make a cinnamon tea using a cinnamon stick, and then strain the coffee with it, using a filter right there in your coffee maker. Or you can simply add cinnamon powder directly to the cup where you'll drink your coffee. So you put a little cinnamon powder, pour in the brewed coffee, no sugar, nothing else, and drink it. If you only have cinnamon sticks at home, it won't do any good to just put a stick of cinnamon in your coffee, because even though it looks nice and stylish for photos, it won't transfer as many active compounds. In this case, the best thing to do is to make cinnamon tea first and then brew your coffee using the cinnamon tea. If you decide to make tea from the cinnamon stick, you'll need to bring it to a boil. It's a decoction tea, and you'll have to let it boil for about 15 minutes before you brew your coffee with it. Another option, of course, is to remember that you can mix cinnamon and coffee in desserts, cakes, ice creams. I have many recipes with coffee here on the channel, and by looking there, you can think about how to add more cinnamon. Because when the recipe already includes coffee and you add cinnamon powder, it becomes easier for you to mix this spice with such a fantastic drink for our health. Tell me down below how you usually drink your coffee. I would love to see your comment. Remember to like the video because that helps me a lot. And share it with someone who will enjoy it, with someone who needs it. Let's expand this chain of good together because that's what I want here with the channel. See you next time. Bye.